Okay, welcome to Chapter 4, Managing Your Cash and Savings. How will this affect you? Finding the best mix of alternative cash management accounts and assets requires careful cost-benefit analysis based on your personal objectives and constraints. Okay, one word of caution with all of these: some banks, some institutions, banks, credit unions, what have you, charge a fee if you don't have a certain dollar amount in them in the account, or if you don't use the accounts after so long. So I had an account, in St. Louis at a bank there. That bank is not here in Oklahoma, and I kept it there so that I could use it for emergencies when I'm up visiting my daughter. Um, However, they changed their policies, and all of a sudden they started charging me fees because I wasn't using it enough. I think it was that you had to use it at least 6 times a month, otherwise a fee would be charged. So after the first time I saw the fee, first time they charged the fee, I closed the account, because had I not closed the account and just left it as is, they would have emptied out my bank account over time. Okay, so I think it was a $5 fee every month. So if I left it there for a couple of years, all of a sudden I'd have nothing in the account. Okay, so you want to be careful when you're setting up an account that they don't charge fees. Otherwise, it defeats the purpose of what you're trying to do. Okay? Learning goals of this chapter is to understand the role of cash management in personal financial planning, describe today's financial services marketplace, both depository and non-depository financial institutions, select the checking, savings, electronic banking, and their bank services that meet your needs, open the use of checking account, open and use a checking account, calculate the interest earned on your money using compound interest and future value techniques, and develop a cash management strategy that incorporates a variety of savings plans. So, facts or fantasies. Here's a list of either facts or fantasies. I'll let you play with that. Okay, cash management. The routine day-to-day administration of cash management and near cash resources, also known as liquid assets, by an individual or family. Efficient cash management ensures adequate funds for both household use and an effective savings program. Okay. Representing rates of return. So cash has a zero rate, actually has a negative rate because of inflation. Checking accounts, it could be 0, could be 0.5, less than 1. All depends on what type of checking account you have. A savings account or money market account, we talked about that and how little they're paying. Again, this is what they're paying. This doesn't count your taxes that you have to take out of it or inflation. CDs 2.2%, that, and treasury bills. Okay, so this isn't accurate, of course, because it changes minute by minute. So if we go here, and we can go to CNBC, and we can see right now the U.S. 10-year is paying at 0.636. If we go to markets and go to bonds, okay, so as of yesterday, Friday, the 3-month was paying, oh, goodness gracious. So get rid of that. There we go. Okay, so the 3-month is paying 0.096%. That's less than 10% of 1%. Okay. The 10-year is paying 0.63, and the 30-year is paying 1.349%. Okay? And then if we look here, why are they? All you have to do is Google and then say current certificate of deposit rates. Right there it is. And skip the ads. And we'll just use this as an example. Okay, Goldman Sachs 6 month to 6 year, 0.6% to 1.05%, $500 minimum deposit. Okay. Synchrony Bank 3 month to 5 years, 0.25 to 1%. Barclays is 3 month to 5 years, 0.1 to 0.65%. Okay. So all of these rates are well under inflation. So you're losing money with all of these because of inflation. You click that and see the best CD rates for August of 2020, and you can see 1% for 1 year there, 1 year rate here, 1.02, 0.95, 0.95. Okay, so again, all less than half of what inflation is. So you could also then Google 2019 inflation, and you can see there they lowered it to 1.81, but 2018 was 2.44, 2.14, 1.26. Projected, I don't know when this was projected. If it was pre-COVID, then that's not going to be very accurate. But yeah, that's not accurate at all. So can't use that. COVID changed everything. So we'll have to wait and see each month what it is. See, it was published on May 7th, but that means it was calculated probably back in February or March, because it takes a while to gather the data and all that. So it was not accurate at all. And then last thing, another source of data that you can use is the clock. Okay. So here's the United States debt clock. Right now, we're in debt $26.67 trillion. This year, officially, they spent, the federal government spent almost 5.6 trillion so far, but unofficially, the actual spending was almost 6.9 trillion. The deficit officially is 2.9 trillion, but the actual deficit is 4.2 trillion. I'm rounding, obviously. Okay. Here's the revenue, the tax revenue, income tax revenue, payroll tax. You can see the payroll tax is about 2/3 of what the income tax revenue is. Corporate tax is so small, it's almost insignificant. Okay, here's our population. Income tax payers, only 124 million people actually pay income tax, which that's 200 million less than our population. Private sector jobs, there's only 112.5 million private sector jobs. Not in the labor force right now, 646,000 people are not in the labor force that should be in the labor force. Okay. Full-time workers, there's only 119,673,000 full-time workers. Right now, there's our part-time. Median new home now, $322,000. And in 2020 years ago, it was $166,000. So the median price has doubled in 20 years. Problem is the median income went from $30,779 in 2000 to only $34,313 now. So median income only went up 12%, where the median price of a house doubled. So that's an issue that we're having, and that's across the board. So this is the real inflation, not the government inflation data points. This is what we actually pay. We consumers actually are paying twice the price for a house where our income is only going up 12%. That's not 12% a year, that's 12% for the entire 20 years. Okay? And these are numbers that are not adjusted for inflation. These are just actual today's dollars. Okay? Manufacturing jobs have gone from 17 million down to 12 million in the last 20 years. Bankruptcies for this year is 848,000. Foreclosures is 361,000. But if you look, there's a lot of pre-foreclosures out there right now because there was a moratorium on foreclosures because of COVID. But that moratorium has ended, so the process is starting now. People living in poverty, 35,800,000 people are living in poverty right now in the United States. 28,310,000 do not have insurance. Okay, so there's lots of data points on here that you may be interested in. Go back to the PowerPoints. Okay. So the impact of low rates discourages savings. If you're getting less than inflation, then why would you save? Because you're losing money every day that you're keeping money in savings and not either investing it in something that brings in a return higher than inflation or spending it before prices go up. If you're into hunting or anything like that and you've looked at the price of ammunition, it's more than doubled in the past 6 months, if you can find it. It's very scarce. So just that simple thing. And if you look across the board at many things, the prices have skyrocketed if you can find the inventory. Let's see. Types of financial institutions. We have depositories such as commercial banks, savings and loans, savings banks and credit unions. And we have non-depositories such as stock brokerage firms and mutual funds. And so there you go into more detail with those. And here's a little model, a little chart here. Magic of compound interest. Nominal rate 3%, effective rate 3%, effective if semi-annual is 3.02, if quarterly is 303, if monthly is 304, and if daily is 305. So you actually get 5% or 0.05% more if it's effective every day than if it's just once a year. It also means that if you're paying a mortgage or a car loan and it's effective every day, you're paying 0.05% more than, or 0.13% or 0.25%, depending on what your rate is, than if it was just calculated once a month or once a year. And then here's the formulas. Future value equals present value times 1 plus I to the nth power. I is the interest rate, N is the number of periods, and PV, present value, equals 1,000. Interest is 2.5% per quarter. N equals number of quarters, which is say 4. So the future value of $1,000 for 1 plus 0.025 to the fourth equals $1,103.81. Okay, so the effective rate is 10.38%. Because this $1,103.81 is 10.38% to 1,000. So in other words, $103.81 is 10.38% of 1,000. All you have to do is move the decimal point, right? And then you have it. Okay, and that's the end of this chapter. Hope you enjoyed it.